because the players here might have a very small champion pool, so champion pool bans are very common. Not sure about the Ezra. I think Ezra's okay. He's not absurdly strong in the AD carry role, or definitely weak. But we see Rakan and Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix being one of the more dominant junglers this past couple of patches. Definitely been a very high tempo jungler, able to carry these games if played correctly. And we see Kindred banned out as well.
Yeah, Kindred has actually started to rise in popularity in terms of the ability to control from the jungle role, in terms of the ability to actually counter some of these champions that are so ubiquitous, right? It does extremely well against the Urgot. Speaking of which, I mean, there he is. He's going to be the first pick. Looks to be locked in for Reign of Kings. And knowing that the Kindred's banned on the other side, it's almost a no-risk proposition, right? There's no jungler that's going to stay alive through that besides exactly Zac, and he is not that common of a pick.
Yeah, that's true. I think Zach's okay. Definitely not something you'd want to pick up as a priority pick, but we do see the Lucian locked in from League of Dolphins. So Lucian being one of the most strongest AD carries at the moment, really high early game pressure, and the skirmishes in the bot lane, and bot lane is heavily dictated in the state of the meta. So nice pickup for the League of Dolphins, along with the Graves jungle.
Yeah, Graves Jungle is it's certainly powerful if you can get rolling. It's in much of the same flavor as that Kindred. It has a ranged champion that has great outplay potential. It's fantastically strong in the 2 versus 2 and in the 1 versus 1 against basically every single champ that can be picked. And once that is secured, you can look and say, okay, that's a lot of early game damage. League of Dolphins is going for a supremely early game composition. They're trying to go off the back of the Graves plays, the Lucian damage, but they have a lot of beefy boys to contend with, right? This is Urgot, this is Braum. If they add another tank into this mix, or something to be protected by them like the Sivir, that's going to be a fantastically hard composition to deal with, because now you don't only have to worry about the scale, but you have to worry about diving early enough to stop any kind of late game potential, right? You don't want the tanks to get big. You don't want the AD to get big. You can't let that happen. And so now they're going to be forced to play aggressive, whether or not they thought they could stretch this into the later phases of the game. They now have a timer on their heads just because of the first phase of this draft.
Yeah, and then we also see the Alistar picked up here for League of Dolphins. I think Alistar is able to round up the composition well, able to protect Lucian during the laning phase, and also support his early aggression.
Ooh, early aggression. Support it. I like that idea. It's still a matter of dancing around the Braum shield, right? If you throw autos, they get blocked by Braum. It doesn't matter if the Alistar's in, because you're still not able to do the damage onto the Sivir in the backside of that fight. So the 2 versus 2s are going to require an incredibly high amount of skill in order to work in the favor of League of Dolphins. Otherwise, we're going to see much the same thing as Reckles did, right? You sit on the Sivir, you have a long-term AD carry, you wait for him to farm up to 6 items, and then you just win the game. If that happens, right, if they are allowed to get to 6 items, Reign of Kings basically will always win this game because of the composition that they've already drafted, right? They've got themselves a very safe top laner that wins basically every matchup. They've got themselves an AD carry that's extremely safe, plus movement speed bonuses and a protective support in the Braum. It is a hard game, a very hard game to win, but we'll see if this next pick can actually change anything, and it is the counterpart to the Urgot, the Aatrox lock-in, an extremely strong champion in the top lane, but again, focusing on that early mid game. If they can't get the Urgot behind in gold, this Aatrox isn't going to have the exact same impact that he would like.
I think Aatrox also falls off a lot in the late game, has a lot of early game and mid game control, but as the game progresses and you're not able to shut down the Sivir, Aatrox isn't going to be so strong as he was in the early and mid game.
Yeah, and speaking of champs that fall off a little bit, the Rek'Sai, this is a very unconventional pick to say the least. Because of the fact that it just doesn't have that much damage or that much utility, right? When it was top tier, it was because the Rek'Sai was so good at initiating, right? You could always get the initiate, you could always get the knockup, and the ultimate just helped with that. Then they did the ultimate rework, then she got changed quite a bit, still was very competitive because of her tracking abilities in the jungle. We'll see how well they put that into effect, though. I mean, if they don't actually, Ajat Jungle, if he doesn't actually do well at tracking this Graves around, at knowing where Turtle Beach is at all times, they're going to have a very difficult time at winning this jungle, or even coming out even.
Yeah, and then we also see Swain and Lysandra picked up. I hope it's going to be the Aftershock Lysandra. Been seeing that be a very popular
Predator
solo queue.
Lysandra, I think, is actually a better option.
Predator?
Predator. So the reason Predator would be a better option is in a team like this, where you're so incredibly focused on getting picks, Predator matters a lot, right? It gives you that extra move speed. Lysandra's your main initiation tool on this team besides the Alistair, so you need that ultimate to land. And Predator gives you just 15 seconds of enhanced movement speed. It's absolutely insane. So to have Predator on Lysandra would be a very, very beneficial thing for them. They have opted into the Aftershock, but again, to catch one carryout, potentially two, in the form of Swain or Sivir, that Predator would be so, so crucial for this team.
Yeah, I think Predator is really good for them. I also think they're not lacking mobility. They do have the Lucian. Um, I think it's going to be really hard for Asedius, Sivir here to actually be safe during the game. Really reliant on Nazumi here on the Braum. I think Braum is able to help a lot, except maybe for the pulverized combo from Alistar, which is going to be really tricky. That's a really tricky situation for the bot lane there. Really helps set up Lysandra as well. But looking at the jungle, I'm actually thinking uh, Knights actually kind of just Kings. I mean, Kings just kind of conceded their jungle. Said, "Yeah, we're gonna play Rek'Sai. Yeah, we just don't want to play jungle. We're just gonna play Rek'Sai." I think Graves totally outclasses Rek'Sai, able to clear a lot more efficiently, able to skirmish a lot better than Rek'Sai in my opinion. So definitely a really huge advantage going over.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, because Rek'Sai isn't played that often, right? And by that often, I mean basically ever in terms of pick rate, right? Sub 1%. This is going to be a harder time for Turtle Beach in terms of being able to get the drop on people, right? If a Jot is in the right position at the right time, there should never be a scenario in which Turtle Beach gets a free unknown gank off. They should always know where he is, where he's going to gank, where he's coming from, what camps he's taken in that order, because the information that the Rek'Sai provides. And that is the benefit to it, right? If you can't beat the Graves, just deny him all access to the map, right? If he walks into a lane, they should already know that he's there. They should just back off. And if they can track him that well, he's not going to matter that much.
Yeah, if you're able to keep track of the Graves, then this is really beneficiary. Information is really important in League of Legends. A lot of people kind of undervalue that, in my opinion. They're more focused on, counter picks and all that. But I think knowing where someone is on the map is a lot more valuable. As we are going to load into the Rift, a little bit of some issues due to spectator bug, but what would ODG be without a spectator bug? Am I right, folks?
What would any amateur League of Legends be without spectator bugs? I mean, this is... it's been so consistent for nearly, 3 or 4 years, and this is a new one as of this year. That's insane to think about. But we are finally going to load onto the Rift at this point. Hopefully, all of you can see that as well, as we are going to get into game, and our two teams are already spread out because we are 30 seconds in to this one.
Yeah, we skipped the boring part, folks. On blue side, we are going to have Reign of Kings with Viator playing Urgot in the top lane. Agi jungle playing that Rek'Sai jungle. Unique playing Swain in the mid lane. And Asadis and Nazumi playing Sip and Braum in the bot lane.
And of course, that means that the League of Dolphins is on your red side. Introducing in the top lane, Turtle Beach at jungle, Bing Bong 1-2-3 in the mid lane, Black Bears Matter at AD carry, and Bear Riddles at support. And that Ursine themed bottom lane, not playing the Volibear, supremely disappointed in that, but hey, it's not Season 2 anymore. You can't really get away with it as a support because there's no Graves to pair it with. There's no supremely short range AD carry anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of miss that old Graves. Not so much, but, the little P bullets were kind of cool. As we do see Viator trying to interrupt the red buff, but introducing knows what's best. Decides to get a little bit of poke off, but wait. Okay, he doesn't get red buff. He doesn't get red buff. That was high risk, low reward coming out from Viator, but I guess
not
it
that
works.
high risk though. If you think about it, right? How are they going to kill him? They still have to kill the red buff, right? It's.
I think he kind of concedes the early. Not so much. It's not a lot of experience, but I think he gives up a lot of experience he'd have since he's not leashing for his own jungler. But I think it's gonna be fine. It is Urgot here. I think
I
Urgot's
think
still
Urgot will do fine, right? Urgot in the top lane, I mean,
he's relevant if he's like
early
0-2.
right? If you don't
Yeah.
actually do that well into the Aatrox supremely early, it doesn't matter because you're Urgot, right? You're gonna win post 6, post 9 power spikes when the shotgun needs start upgrading towards 13, and you get your supremely strong stance. That's when they have to worry. But Graves has already cleared his top side of the jungle, and he notices that Scuttle is down. The thing that Viator doesn't notice is that the Graves has slipped in here. So once the gank starts, this will be dangerous.
Yeah, taking a lot of damage from the minions, but they're going to commit for this gank as the counter gank from Ajah is here. Pops the W from the Urgot and should be able to get flash from the Graves with a flash on top of him. Ajah picks up first blood. Rek'Sai, proving me wrong, says, hey, I can be a competent jungler too, man.
Yeah, the early game, people often forget this. Rek'Sai does have true damage, right? When that sort of red gauge, fury, blood scent, whatever you want to call it, fills up, he gets true damage on his Qs on the repeating autos, but trades in the bottom lane are still going fast and furious.
Yeah, fast and the furious. This ain't Tokyo Drift, folks. As we see, introducing has to be a lot more careful with this Urgot. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Not a very fun lane for Bing Bong there.
Yeah, Bing Bong's having a tough time as well. I mean, Unique has been pressuring him so hard. The Swain, of course, does have the advantage in the match against Lissandra. He's got great CC. He's got better trading potential. He's got a longer range pull in that sense. And
yeah,
he's also got better AoE, right? He doesn't have to get as close to do it.
That's true. And maybe Bing Bong might be a magnet to these never moves. It feels like he just keeps on walking into them on purpose.
I mean, that's the sign of a really good Swain, though. When you start hitting a bunch of never moves, that's the sign that you're actually playing the Swain incredibly well, because that matters more than most people realize, right? It's not just lane harass, but it's the CC trigger on his passive that does so much bonus damage, and people don't factor that into their actual lane sustain potential.
Yeah, they're looking for a bit of jungling, but they're in a bad spot. Lissandra's making her way. Bing Bong as the fight commences. 3-man knocking from Bear Riddles. Forced to flash out as Black Bear gets a kill for himself, taking out Ajah. But Unique flashes in over the wall. Not able to save this team fight. Double kill going over to the Lucian as Asadis gets the stun off on Turtle Beach. Turtle Beach has to be careful, but that's a triple kill on Black Bear's matter. Asadis forced to burn his flash, and that was quite the fiesta. But League of Dolphins come out on top.
That seems absolutely ridiculous that it turned out as it did, but hey, it works out in the end. The Dolphins, off of a very, very scrappy fight, keep their jungler alive, they peel for their AD carry, the Lucian starts to pop off in terms of damage, and they just win the fight. I mean, to see a fight win like that, and to convert it into a dragon so early is amazing for the Dolphins, because after all, we mentioned in the early game, the early game is when they have to actually make their mark.
Bear Riddles kill on Bear Riddles. Never mind, a headbutt away. Never mind this, not really the snipe, but goes out and gives him a little love tap.
A little torpedo, you know.
Yeah.
A little bit of this and that. Turtle Beach is seen. This is what we were talking about. The tracking from Ajah matters in this game, and if they can find him, if they know where Turtle Beach is, things get extremely dangerous for the Graves, right? He can start to get pinched on in the 1v2. He's not as good as he is in the 1 versus, right? He needs a little something to help him out, like they saw earlier in the game with that great roam down. That was the kind of play that needs to be made in order to keep this Graves relevant.
Yeah, talk about relevant. When you have a one-sided win in one of your lanes, it really helps as a jungler. As we see Black Bear's matter coming back with the Bilgewater Cutlass and double buffs. That's quite intimidating, running up against the Sivir and Braum lane. And that team fight was huge. It was a huge lead for them, as we see Unique kind of having to play a bit more back here, as we see Viator go for the trade. Not level 6, so ultimates aren't available. He is probably going to lose this trade. Oh wait, he pops the ultimate, pressuring it, not able to, maybe gets this.
Oh, he should get the execute here. 1 auto! Oh my gosh.
That was quite unfortunate. I think he wasn't ready to commit to that play, but I think if he did, then that was definitely a kill.
It was an auto way. We're talking a single auto in between those trades, and he would have completely eradicated introducing from the top lane with his ultimate. I mean, the fear beyond death, it was waiting. The fear got really, really close to him, in fact, but he did not succumb to it, and that is absolutely insane. Walking a nice edge in that top lane, introducing has to be scared, and he has to be asking, you know, where's my jungler at? Can he even help me? This Urgot pressuring him, winning the lane, and there's not much he can do about it.
And not much to be done there, but introducing is level 6, so it shouldn't be too bad against the Urgot ultimate. You just kind of pop your ultimate as Aatrox when you're fighting and committing to a trade, and it should be coming out on top for you.
Yeah, in theory, I mean, you should be able to trade, but the problem is Urgot's base stats are just insane. You know,
Yeah,
how do you actually trade with him if you don't have that skill edge? And that's the really hard thing, right? To win the trades as Aatrox, you need the edge in mechanical skill or the edge in knowing exactly what Aatrox does in terms of mechanics, right? If you're even on mechanics, you might not win. But there aren't that many Urgot mechanics to pull off. So maybe you can. Maybe you can pull it off. Maybe you can get that, 50-50 coin flip in your favor. You get one of those, though, and suddenly the lane's back to even. You get two, and you win it.
yeah. And still CS lead coming out from V8er, so obviously Urgot's having a really fun time in the top lane. Things are going quite well, and in terms of the bot lane, it's not as bad as we expected. Black Bear's not able to press that huge lead he has, and Asade is doing his best, has a small CS lead over his own opponent. The Braum able to zone off Lucian.
I mean, you want to talk about the lead. The reason that we see the gold so even across the map is because even though there's an 800 gold lead in the bottom lane, there's an 800 gold lead in the jungle as well. Ajat has a huge lead over the Graves, and we mentioned farming. We mentioned clear speed. Rek'Sai was known for having one of the fastest clear speeds in the game. People continuously forget that she has fantastic AoE damage, and now, going up towards the top side, the gank will start, but the bottom lane's fighting as well.
Yeah, Hex Flash from Bear Riddle's not able to get too much out of it. As we see the ultimate go down, gonna be able to proc the Aatrox. It should be a
like
kill.
200 HP though, he's so dead.
Yeah, he's very much dead. Nicely done. Able to further the lead
Graves is in the bot lane.
Creator, but we do see Turtle Beach just hanging out in the bush. Knows it's not worried, but is able to collapse on the status. Pops the Sivir ultimate, but the culling is going out. Not enough damage. One more auto from Graves should be enough. Turtle Beach decides to pop the buckshot and gets the kill on Asadis.
Yeah, that collateral was just enough to pop her, and the fact that he gets the Sivir is huge, because now the Lucian has the farm advantage, the Lucian has the push advantage, the Lucian has the XP advantage. These are all things that he needs in order to continue trying to win this lane. If he wasn't going to get any of those things, if they didn't even get a kill there, the Sivir still has to back. So whether or not they get the kill doesn't actually change the advantage Lucian was going to get off of this fight. But because he got it, it's a little bit of gold back in his pocket, shrinks that gold lead in the jungle, and maybe, just maybe, might bring them closer to even, because even after that kill trade, they are still down gold. The Jot's in the top lane, they're ganking again.
Yeah, there's another 10 inside this top side here, introducing Force Hold his own ultimate available, and that should be a kill going over to a Jot. He's kind of popping off this game, as we've seen Azumi forced to try to hug his turret, not able to survive long enough, as he is trying to outlast, but there's too many members controlling the aggro of the turret. And that's another kill going over to Black Bear's
His first turret, actually. It should be top lane, I believe, going down to Viator and Ajat, but they have 280 carries on the bottom side of the map. Blue team wins the turret race. First brick goes to them, and the gold as well. Remember, global gold still not very large from the turrets, but even though they lost the kill trade, they still win the turret race, and that means that they are maintaining an even gold parity, right? Everything that they have is still going even. The problem is their bot lane is now 0 and 4. The Sivir has absolutely lost this lane, and with the turret gone, she's going to be in a lot of danger if she continues to farm.
Yeah, it's really rough for Asadis there. Wants to try to farm, get those item power spikes, but without a turret, then you really have to invest a lot of vision on the bottom side of the map, and don't have as much leisure like the bot lane of League of Dolphins to roam across the map. As we see them try to pressure for this dragon, it is another ocean drake, but it only makes the Elder Drake for League of Dolphins so much better, so they're trying to get this out of the hands of League of Dolphins.
Yeah, and getting the answer back, it being an ocean, isn't fantastic, but at the very least it is a dragon, right? Now teams are even on the dragon, so they're not going to get shoved out by, a long-term poke war or any kind of a health disadvantage. They will be even on that regard. But Ajat doesn't actually know where anyone is right now. He's trying to use his, tunnel sight. He's trying to find out where people are from the sense of tremors. He's just not seeing anybody, right? The sandworm is completely and utterly missing their target. So now the Dolphins have a little bit of an advantage, right? They know that the top turret is vulnerable, and this, reminiscent of Season 4 and 5, the turret trade is going to come in. Both of the outers will fall in short regard as the mid laners continue to dance.
Yeah, most definitely. I think it should be going over to... Yep. It's pretty nicely done. Able to get the first turret, while we see League of Dolphins struggle to get this top lane turret. And Reign of Knights might be even going for this second tier turret. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they should be able to commit to this.
Yeah,
They're really slow.
It's going to go down. I mean, there's no way for them to stop it, right? If they full commit into this turret and they try to stop this, they should be able to be dove instantly, unless they back off. They're backing off instead. A very curious thing. Maybe they're setting up the turn now. Lissandra's caught.
Yeah, and Lissandra pops ultimate on herself. Glacial Fisher goes out as we see Vader pick up the kill. Bing Bong going down. Sway ultimate is popped in there. Maybe looking for more. Now they have enough resources to maybe get the second tier turret. They realize with 5 of them together, they should be able to break down the second tier turret.
They should be able to get third. This should be easily an inhibitor turret right here on the push. Graves isn't there. You know you don't have the wave clear mage. Just push the turret. But they don't.
Now, if they see the Shelly gets popped down on the top side,
you can send one away and still push, right? That could still be a 4 versus 3 push, and you still win that push war, right? You get good chip damage on the turret, and it matters a lot. The back timing here actually doesn't matter that much, though, right? The back timing didn't matter because even though they got themselves a Rift Herald, if you're just missing Urgot, you still have a very good pushing team.
Yeah, that may be the case, but I think League of Dolphins are able to counter the push with Lissandra, Lucian, and Alistar.
Even dead, that's the thing. Because they didn't have Lissandra, they could actually win that push war, and they could take at least half or maybe even 2/3 of that turret's HP, which I think in the long run matters a lot more than getting an early back timer off.
Yeah, that is true, but mistakes were made. Reign of Knights underestimating themselves. It happens, but they do have a slight gold lead. It's not the biggest gold lead. They still got to take this game at a reasonable tempo. Definitely missed out on the opportunity on that in-hit turret, but for now they're going to stack themselves mid lane and maybe look to crack down this mid lane turret. This would be huge for them. Able to crack down mid turret opens up a lot of opportunities for them. A lot of vision control as well. As we see the fail from the pulverized combo from Alistar here. Bear Riddle's not able to get much, but they are able to get Nezumi down as Unique is on the run. Swain's in a bad spot. No ultimate available. And that's going to be flash burned out from Unique. Nicely done. League of Dolphins able to pressure and apply a lot of aggression against Reign of Knights, or Reign of Kings.
This is it's surprising actually how much they've given up and still maintain a gold lead, right? They've given up so many kills there. You know, a Lucian, a Graves have the entirety of the team's kills for Dolphins, and you think it looks, you know, terrible until you realize the gold lead's still there. They're still scaling. They're still getting these advantages. They have a turret lead, for gosh sakes, on a team that shouldn't, right? They don't have that early push. They don't have, you know, 280 carries, and they're still winning for it.
Yeah,
dodging that.
Yeah. Turtle Beach should have been fine even with the ultimate landing. As we see a fight break out, Swain ultimate goes down as Bing Bong ults himself, but is still doomed to his demise. As we see Unique pick up the kill, Bear Riddles is looking for something. He's in a bad spot. It's the one poor cow. As we see introducing, maybe looking to end the fight in his own favor. Looking for more, able to get the shutdown on Viator here. They're looking for more Sivers on the run. Oh, introducing is looking for more. Turtle Beach is still pursuing this, but Braum Shield able to keep himself and his 80 carry alive. And that was a fairly even team fight on both sides.
Yeah, except for the fact that they got the shutdown gold onto the Urgot, get themselves a little bit of a gold lead as a result, and more of these kills still stacking up onto the Graves, onto the Lucian. The thing that we didn't consider, that Aatrox matters a heck of a lot right now. When you pop ultimate and just walk at people, you do incredible amounts of damage, and as he came in right there, they thought they had won the fight. But as soon as introducing shows up, the fight's basically over because they didn't account for the fact that they have another full health member that can revive. You just can't even try to fight him. And so they're going to have to be content with taking a 4th turret, the last outer in the game, to fall.
Yeah, I think this is a a decent win. I think is in favor of Reign of Kings here. Able to pop down that mid turret allows them to establish vision control around Dragon and Baron. Um, while they're only missing their side outer turrets, they still have their mid turret available, so it allows them to go for these moves, establish some vision control. But I'm not sure if they're actually going to go for that. There's not been too much vision, mostly around the river, but even then, it's not deep vision. Not able to extend their slight lead that they have, which is now a lead for League of Dolphins. As Nezumi gets caught out, headbutt pulverize connects.
He should be dead.
Looking for the
Ooh,
fight,
good
able to
escape.
jump onto his 80 carry. Unique is looking for the kill, able to root down, introducing. No ultimate available for the Aatrox. Does burn the ultimate of Urgot, but this allows for Reign of Kings to go for this Mountain Drake.
And this should be a very free dragon to pick up 17 minutes in, their second of the game, the third that has been taken. 8 to 10 now, but off the back of that fight, you gotta wonder, why do they keep trying to engage and then disengage differently? You know, we see that and it was like, okay, you can maybe get the Braum pick, but as soon as you don't get the Braum pick, you realize the fact that they went in on something that they have no vision for, right? They had no vision in the side brush. They had no vision downriver. They had no vision pursuing straight forwards into that banana bush. And they just kept going for it still, right? That means that not only did they keep going at a point where they had no vision, nothing to play off of, but they did so not knowing where anything was, right? Nobody was on the map whatsoever. So doing that is just asking to get punished, and get punished they did. Now the turret could be the next victim.
It has to be careful fight. Looks like it's about to break out. Not sure whether these teams want to come in for another fight. Introducing does have his ultimate available. No Urgot ultimate just yet. So if they are looking to fight, they should fight right now. But for now, they're going to turtle shell themselves. Listen to the jungler say, all right, guys, let's relax. And this allows for Reign of Kings to maybe rotate towards Baron. It is spawning quite soon in about a minute or so. Maybe establish some vision or look for picks.
They've got to get these waves shoving, though. Before they actually start the Baron, the waves need to be shoving in their favor, because if they go over there, the waves aren't shoving in their favor, and they start getting stalled out, then they're going to lose turret health, then they're going to lose priority, then they're going to lose XP all across the map. If they get them shoving beforehand, obviously, it's going to be in their advantage to just wait and waste time around this objective. But until they actually do that, until they prep those waves, things are not looking easy. And that Smite Away is just a little bit of the icing on the cake there. Turtle Beach takes that for his team, and now they can see perfectly when the Baron is going to be at least faked, right? You can't see the back pit, you can't guaranteed see Baron, but you can see when people are walking towards the pit at the very least.
Yeah, that does help them a lot, especially since they're not having as much vision control. They do have a lot of defensive vision, which is something I commend them for, because in their position where it's quite even between both these teams, at least they're keeping up in vision, able to maintain themselves with enough information. As Introducing gets caught out, forced to pop the ultimate quite early, not able to regen as much health, as the Glacial Pusher does miss, but Asaitis gets the kill. Maybe looking for more. They're not going to go ahead and commit. They committed a lot for that Aatrox kill, but this is going to allow them to maybe even Baron or just Listing take down the second tier mid turret.
T2 mid is under fire. The bottom lane could be the target to rotate to. If you look at that large minion wave on your map, if they go down there, they could absolutely take a turret, and one on the inhibitor at that. We're talking about why that turret HP mattered. If they had pushed it earlier, this turret would be a guaranteed kill. There'd be absolutely nothing that the Dolphins could do to stop it. As it stands right now, there still might be nothing, because they are starting to pressure on towards the turret. Nezumi's eating a huge ultimate.
Yeah, able to block the coiling there, as we see a two-man knockup going down from Alistar. Sada's getting caught out, but the Sivers in a bad spot. It still goes down as Vierge is looking for something. Not able to get anything at all, as the Introducing is able to lead a huge fight for his team. John maybe looking to get away as Nezumi gets taken out. And this is a clean, almost a clean ace, as Introducing forces the flash from Unique, gets the Never Move, is able to make his escape, but this allows for League of Dolphins to go for Baron.
Unique should turn around right now. He should just head straight back up and pressure the inhibitor. Make them force them to make a call, right? As soon as you see Unique towards that inhibitor, you have to say, okay, can we finish this in time? Do we have to send someone back? If you have to send someone back, they only have one member with teleport. It's probably Introducing that they actually tell to go back up towards that fight. And If that is the case, then they're in a lot of trouble at Baron. But with the teleport coming in, they might be as well.
Yeah, we were looking for a fight. Viator's back up. No ultimate available, but he is ready to fight again. There's introducing Pop's
low.
ultimate quite early. Maybe looking for something here. Looking to fight. Introducing is going to get resurrected as a Satus gets a huge kill on Bear Riddles. Baron's is quite low. Glacial Fisher goes out. Double kill for
Beach is out.
Black Bears gets taken out as well. Nazumi, and that's going to be Baron going over to a Jot. What was a really good call turns quite sour as this allowed for Reign of Kings to make the turnaround. They're making their way down mid lane. They have Baron buff. They have a minion wave. Top side isn't looking too hot for them, but they don't care at this point. They're just going to try to take as much objectives for themselves.
I mean, this is 2 inhibitors. This is absolutely going to be the base cracked completely open. And it was off the back of a very, very misguided call. As soon as you see the wipe, you think to yourself, yes, we can do this. We can win this. Until they realize death timers are 20 seconds. At a 20-second death timer, the Sivir will guaranteed be back and up and at your Baron before you can even finish it. This team is not incredibly high damage when it comes to Baron taking. The only member, in fact, who does really well is the Graves, right? The Lucian doesn't have fantastic damage. The Aatrox lacking a little bit in HP and missing some of that tankiness that they need to actually absorb the damage. In that regard, Lissandra does decently as well, but all those things put together, it's still a 20-minute Baron. It's still incredibly hard to take, even if you have this many damage threats on the team, because none of them are incredibly far ahead besides that Graves, and they get completely punished for it, missing the timing, and give over Baron and the first inhibitor of the game.
Yeah, Bing Bong 1-3 also doesn't even have a completed item, sitting on some mid lane AP item components, but it's still not a completed item. 23 minutes in, that's quite a weird trend. I assume that he should at least try to finish an item soon if they're looking to fight, because at this point he's just way behind compared to his lane opponent, who has 2 completed items on him. As we see, both teams want this Infernal Drake. It is up. It's really beneficial for both these teams, as they are going to kind of dance around the river. I don't know if you've ever done a river dance, but this looks like quite the river dance here, folks, as they see throwing out the skill shots, maybe going for the poke, introducing, taking some damage from Sivir, as they might be looking to engage. Braum ultimate is up, Sivir ultimate is up. We're just waiting for these guys to pull the trigger and initiate on League of Dolphins. And they're just going to go ahead and consent.
They don't need to initiate, right? If they initiate, they could actually overextend. All they have to do is just walk at the dragon, right? If they walk at the dragon and Dolphins stay, then at that point they can just walk in and continue the fight. But they don't need to expend any resources whatsoever going towards these objectives, because not only do they have Baron, they have a massive gold lead. Sorry, not massive, but a pretty sizable gold lead going into this second inhibitor. As soon as they take out 2 inhibitors, then they can pressure towards the other side of the map. Only a third of the time left on Baron though, and because they didn't reset their top wave, they're not going to be able to get the 3rd inhibitor with this Baron buff. Not sure if it's going to matter though, because again, clearing these supers is still very difficult for this team.
Yeah, Bing Bong goes in, ults himself, Glacial Fisher goes out, a huge Swain ultimate is going through, getting as much damage as possible, and this looks like a clean wipe as the Urgot ultimate misses, but either not able to connect it on anyone. Bear Riddle's on the run as Black Bears Matter is going to be taken out, and that is a 4-0. This looks like this is going to be game 1 going over to Reign of Knights. Unique popping the Zonias is most likely. Actually, he does survive. What? That was crazy.
That turret reacquisition took forever, in fact, and so Unique lives. It's not a 5-0, but the music still plays in the end. 25-55 will be the end of the game. 16-14 doesn't look like that dominant of a scoreline, but in a team based around Sivir and Urgot and Swain, I mean, it was a fantastically clean second half of the game.
Yeah, nicely done by Reign of Kings. They're able to get their first win in this best of 3 series. Now we just wait to see if game 2 is they're able to close out the series, or is League of Dolphins able to make their comeback. We're gonna go ahead and go into a quick break, folks. We'll catch you guys soon. Get ready, game 2 is about to start, and we'll see you guys in just a minute.